Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Goals Do Come True with me, Doug Bennett. Today, I'm joined by Toby Burns. He's the event entrepreneur. Tell us about your 10-year-old business.
So yeah, we've just hit 10 years. I'm the proud founder of the Silent Disco Company. So we're the UK's largest silent disco hire company. And then we've got a couple of sister brands. So we've got the Cinema Hire Company, where we offer sort of outdoor cinemas as a home package, or the big drive-in cinemas that kept us alive during COVID. The Karaoke Hire Company, one of our newest brands. We do LED wristbands that you see at festivals and concerts. So all in the event space, but with a model of ship it out in a box, ship it back in a box. And that's just allowed us to scale in terms of the model that we have with event hire. It's like a dry hire, do-it-yourself solution, but super easy. So they're naming just a few of our brands. And then I have a hobby of property, specifically commercial, and my finger in a few different business pies as such.
Nice. So, as an entrepreneur, as well as the other word that I can't get round, my teeth round, you must, and you're running a lot of businesses, it would seem.
Yeah, so
how does goals fit in with all of that?
I think goals is it's so important for a business owner, and the main goal that I tell other business owners as well is having a goal of what the end in mind is. And I think that's so important, that there's an end goal that you can reverse engineer backwards in order to reach there. What have I got to do by year 2, 3, 5? Even if you have no intention of selling a business, I still think you need a goal to what you want your business to be, in order that if you wanted to exit it and sell it to a venture capitalist or another business owner, what that business looks like. And for me, I have no intention of selling it. Certainly not for another 15, 20 years. So I look at this as okay, what is the goal in 15, let's say 15 years? Where do I want this business to be? What do I want the turnover, profit, what I want the team to look like? Because I think, when we've looked at other businesses to buy, I think it's always based on the team. I sometimes, I'm more interested in the business because of the team than the actual business itself. So I think that's the key goal for any business owner, is certainly having a business ready to sell, even if you have no intention of selling it. And if you know what that goal is, what you want it to be, you can reverse engineer it, on a 5-year plan, a year plan of where you need to get to in order to meet that goal. And I also use the analogy of a war. You don't go into a war without a battle plan, and it's all the little battles that win the war. Or building a house. You wouldn't build a house without any architectural plans, because you don't know what the house is going to look like at the end of it. So I think if you know what you want the house to look like, then you have the architectural plans. And I see that in a business sense, that you know what mansion you want to build in terms of a business. What's the architectural plans to get to that goal?
That makes an awful lot of sense, and very well put. So thank you for that, because that's nice little clip that we can use. And we like those. So what got you into this line of work? I mean, your main line of work, your 10-year business, all right? Because obviously you've got all the other little side, well, they're not hustles because they're bigger than hustles from the way you describe them. But what got you into your business in the first instance, the 10-year?
The Silent Disco Company was born really at a young age, and I was a children's entertainer and DJ. I hate the word clown, children's entertainer, and I quickly learned that it's a profitable job. You're literally swapping time for money, good money, but you're swapping time. And I really needed something that was sort of, commercially viable long term, that will work without me in it, I don't have to come to the office every day, even though I do, because I love doing what I do. And I was in the US at the time, and I saw this silent disco-esque event, and I thought, I can do this so much better. Our market as a DJ at the time was corporate and real high-end events. So, a children's birthday, spending £100,000 on a children's birthday, madness. They're the sort of events I was doing, but I wasn't getting that. Don't worry, I was just there to entertain some children for an hour. And then corporate, so I was DJing at the time for like Virgin, British Airways, Google, which I still DJ 4 times a year for now for their 4 main events a year. And I just thought they would love this, but on a much more premium scale, better headphones, etc., etc. So it was really born out of some savings, buying 200 headphones, which my parents thought I was bonkers for buying 200 pairs of headphones. And within about a month, obviously, I had all these DJ bookings in, and they were all, I upsold them. I said, we've got these headphones, they're the best thing, blah, blah, blah. And I was upselling to customers I already had. And that's something I've taken, not to digress from that business, but with our new businesses, is that, okay, we're thinking of doing this. Would you like to book it? You're almost testing the market before you've even bought the product. So nice. Our karaoke, our newest thing, like we were doing it with some different equipment, testing the market. Is this going to be really popular? And now we've put a huge investment into developing our own karaoke machine, etc., etc. So Silent Disco was born out of that. A month down the line, fully booked. We bought more headphones. 3 months down the line, we're still fully booked. So within a year, I think we had about 4,000 or 5,000 headphones, something like that. And now we have in excess of 15,000 in the UK. And then we have some in Dubai as well, which we opened last year. So we have a lot of headphones to charge each week and get out the door. And for example, this is our peak time. As I said, we're sitting about 18,000 at the moment in terms of headphones. And I know over there's certain weekends of even this month where we're pretty much there on being fully booked in terms of capacity. So the goal is just to keep investing in the team, in the products each year, growing the capacity, and really offering the best service. And I think that's what it all comes down to. Sometimes it's not even the product, it's the service. We offer a great product, but I think if there's other people doing it. So if you are the best at what you do, the experts in your field, I think that is the key to success with any business.
And how do you become the expert in your field?
I think it all comes down to customer service and the team that we have around us. And our team, we train them really hard. They've all come from like an events sort of background, so they get the equipment. I make sure every staff member goes to a Silent Disco to experience it, and then that will help them sell. And one of our team, I mentioned AP, he's been with us 8 years now, pretty much from the start. And customers, are calling up for him each time to come to their event because we're putting on a really, really good service. I think we're open in terms of like a technical support number 24/7. Okay, so I see calls come in at 2-3 in the morning where someone's having an issue, and we will resolve it there and then. So I think the key is always having someone available. We're a big team. If someone calls, they're always going to get through to someone. I know a lot of like smaller companies, they may be like, it's a part-time job. They have 500 headphones in their garage or something like that, where we're a much bigger organisation. So I think a really good product, innovate or evaporate, is one of my key terms to the team. We're continuously innovating. I tend to go to China once a year to look at new products, go to the factories that we're buying from, continue to innovate. If we can make a 10% improvement each year on our product and our service, I think that is the goal of a fantastic business in terms of being able to grow and build something sustainable that you are the expert in your field.
Okay, when you replace all these headsets, where do they go? Do you sub them out to lesser mortals, so to speak?
What do you mean? Sorry.
Well, your headsets, if you're upgrading them and you've got 15,000,
Okay.
who do you sell them on to?
So we make very, very small tweaks. I think last year we actually changed the model completely. And we're using them for a lot more corporate or any events that we actually attend. We're using the upgraded model. Normally, we offer sale as well. We're predominantly a rental company, but we do have clients such as Celebrity Cruises, for example, that hired from us from the start, and then they purchased on the ship, and they'll stay on the ship for 10 years because they'll last 10 years. So we send some to Dubai. So some of the old stock goes to Dubai. We probably lose around 1,500 a year, which is quite a high amount. But if you think about, we're doing 4,500 hires a year. There's less than one headphone missing per hire, So it's not it's not actually that high of a number. But we lose about 1,500 a year, so we're continuously replacing them each year, and that's part and parcel of it. Someone takes it back to a tent at a festival, or they break, but we're used to that, so we're continuously replacing them. We sell some of them, especially the older model, and then we have some in Dubai, and we ship some abroad. So slowly we're transitioning. They're turning over. We're transitioning into the new model, which again we only did last year to really differentiate us from all the others. I think any business that's good, people try and copy it. And I was listening to a podcast last week, a YouTube of Stephen Bartlett, who I'm a big fan of, and he was interviewing the Airbnb owner, and he was saying, then you've got Vrbo, VRBO, I think, another Airbnb type one. And I think when people see you have a great business, lots of people copy, and that's just one example. So we have that in our business. And again, if you're not innovating, somebody else is, and you're going to evaporate. So continuously, all the time, I think that's the biggest goal for us, is just keep innovating, being different, being new, and the leader in the field.
Yeah. Okay. And sort of what's the sort of smallest number that you might send out?
Smallest is 10, generally.
Okay. Yeah.
10 headphones, you're having a party in your garden, especially over the summer. 10 headphones. And then the biggest one that we've done in one hit was probably at the NEC in Birmingham a few years back. I think it was literally just before COVID. I think it was January time or something, and that was for Girl Guides UK, and they did a massive event, and I think we had about 5,500-6,000 screaming children in one of the NEC halls, and it's big. It's bloody big at the NEC, and the noise was just immense. But that was a lot of headphones in one hit. But yeah, 10 to, we can do a festival at 15,000. We tend not to do festivals because, financially, you lose a lot. They break a lot, and we also financially, it's much better doing, 150 hires of 10 headphones than doing one booking at 15,000 headphones. It's a much better model for us to do that.
Yeah.
I've used different methods in the past, but I think writing something down, there's something psychological that just makes it happen much easier. I mean, for our team, any goals that we have, yes, we use, an app where this is the goal for the week, and it's more of a task calendar tracking system. But for me, I don't think I'll ever be satisfied with the goal. And I was interviewed the other week about, have you achieved what you want to at 10 years at a young age? And I went, no, not really. Like, I'm not satisfied with that. So for me, another entrepreneur told me many years ago that in his in his office, he has an A4 frame on his desk. It's a bright gold frame, so it really stands out. And every single year, he puts down on that picture frame the 10 things or the 10 goals he wants to achieve that year. And just by having it there on his desk, subconsciously looking at it a few times a day, it makes it happen. Even if he said, I do 7 or 8 out of those 10, like, you're satisfied with it. And I heard that. I thought that was brilliant. So I do that in the same way. And I have my picture frame there. Normally, I have it more in my home office because I'm, busy with the team here. And then I do get home in the evening once the kids are asleep. I'm in the office and I have that there and I go, right, now's the time I can really like crack a couple of hours out to make things happen. And I do write it down because I think psychologically there is something in the human brain that when you write it down on paper, when you actually write it with your hand, it just validates it a bit more than typing it onto a screen. So that's the way I would measure the goal that we want to achieve.
No, that's perfect. That's that is the thing. You have to write it down. You have to connect it to your brain. You have to feed the information into your subconscious so that it understands what it is that it's looking for, because it saves you from so many things. There's so much stimuli going on, around us all of the time, and so telling it exactly what it is that you want, it will find that information. There'll be bits of data that actually will move you towards your goal, and it will see those things as
yeah,
you're going
definitely
along.
And I think you open up your phone now, okay, you could have it on the notes app, and then you see a message pop up from Julie on Instagram, and you click. It's too much of a distraction. Even social media is a really sort of dangerous place right now, and full of all this information. So just by having it next to your screen on your desk, you're looking at that and writing it down, as you said, there's something that connects that with the brain that just makes things happen so much better.
Okay, so what's your big, hairy, audacious goal at the moment? What's your big, like, this is a frightening one?
Oh, that's a good question. As I said, I said at the beginning that I have an overall goal and then lots of little battle plans to reach that goal. I think in the next, within the next 5 years, we want to scale this now to 10 million turnover. And I know the battle plans that we need to reach that. And we're sort of in the over trading stage, because I think businesses go through this, like of entrepreneur stage, and then you move into like your over trading. So, I think we're nearly at the end of that, but like you're no better off than if you had five staff, than having 15 staff, because all your expenses have gone up. Yeah, you're turning more money, but the bottom line isn't changing.
Yeah, improving a great deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're now reaching the end of that over trading stage, and then we want to transition into the investrepreneur, as I call it, and making us a business that people want to invest in. And it goes back to that ultimate goal of having it ready to sell. We know what we want the net profit to be. So I think that's the overall goal that does scare me, because it's all those little battle plans. If you lose one battle plan, what's the next one? And I think innovation, I'm always looking for the next thing. I think karaoke has proven to be that took us about 18 months to develop. We went through so many samples and trips to China, and only in December time, we had the final product delivered en masse. People love it, and I think it's just finding the next thing that people love, and is you can mass produce it in the model that we use, which is, as I said, if it fits in a box, ship it out, ship it back. That's for me the
way to do it.
The model. And then I have other, like property. We try and buy at least 1 or 2 commercial properties each year, and I think every business should do that, like a opco, propco setup. that, you know, we do invest 50% of the profits of the business into property, the other 50% back into the business, whether that's investing in new products, our team. And, you know, I'm interviewing next week again. We've taken, I think, 4 on in the last 4 weeks. But it's like, if we can find talented people, you know, I'll invest in them now, even if we don't need them at the time.
Need them, yeah.
And I think it's really, really difficult. Like, I talk to a lot of business owners as well, especially in terms of team. And I always say, like, you have to kiss a few frogs to find your prince. And I think, like, you know, people try and do you over. Like, there's no, staff will do you over. They think, oh, this is good, I'll go and do it on my own. Like, plumbers and electricians have this all the time. They have someone work with them, and they go, I'll get their number and I'll go do some private jobs with them. And I think any business has that. So I think it's just like, again, building a team. If you find someone talented, build up that culture that creates a really amazing business, and really working with people you enjoy working with, because we spend more time in the office than we do with our families at home. So you got to surround yourselves with great people.
Somebody you'd want to go and have dinner with and sit next to them.
Yeah. And I also say, this is one of my favourite things, and I tell this to my wife as well about my children, is that you should, in my eyes, especially for me, I want to be surrounded by 5 people that are better than me. I don't want to be the best person in the room. I want to be the least successful person in the room, because I do believe that you become the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. And that's only in the last like 5 years, you know. Okay, where if you're really young, okay, you're doing really, really well, you're going on night, you know. It's almost like an ego thing for some business owners, where actually, like, I want to be the least successful person in the room. I want to be in a room where they've got a property portfolio of 100 properties, because the knowledge you will get from that is invaluable, and you become the average of the 5 people you hang around with the most. And when I employ people, like we just took on a new marketing manager, I want to employ people that are better than me, that plug the gaps. I want to learn from them, and I think you can continuously learn. So anyone that we take on now, like, I want them to be better than me in the gap that we're trying to plug. Otherwise, you're just going to create a mediocre company. If you're getting really talented people that are better than you, you're going to grow something much more valuable.
No, that's a good call. What I would suggest is the Think Simple Win Big book, right?
Yeah.
It's the blow by blow checklist of becoming an employee into becoming an entrepreneur. If you give it all to your team, they'll realise that it's not so great, and you have to be a certain type of person. And you know, they all think they're swapping their little 9 to 5 for, you know, an easy life. And you've been in your business for 10 years, and you know, you rock up when you feel like it. You know, you can work from home, you will get things done, but you know, they don't see the 70, 80, 90-hour weeks that we've all done in the past to get to where we are, where we can make it appear like
I think you've hit the nail on the head. And you know, I've told some of my team before, like, even if I mean, I hate golf, but I could be on the golf course 4 days a week, work from home. Like, I don't need to come into the office, because I can work from home. The team know what they're doing. But I leave at 6:30 every morning, walk the dog. I'm in the office. I'm normally the last person to leave. I go home, bath time, dinner, and then I'm back on my laptop till 11 o'clock at night. And my wife was a bit angry with me because we had a bank holiday just gone, and I was just dealing with some emails. And again, when you're dealing with China, they don't have bank holidays on the same dates that you do. And China, you know, you're limited with, like, we do a lot with China, so in the morning or late in the evening. And she went, why are you working on a bank holiday? And I said, you've been with me 10 years now, literally the whole journey. I was like, you know, this is a 24/7 24-hour job. And as I said, the team think it's, sometimes you wish you could go home at 5 and switch off, but you never switch off, ever. From the minute you wake up, from the minute you go to sleep, you're thinking about it. And again, I was listening to another entrepreneur who was saying the difference between founders and managers of the business, that there's just such a difference in it. And like one of the things he said, like the founder is the biological parent of that company. Even if the manager loves the company, when you're the biological parent, when you wake up in the night because you think you've heard your baby wake up, it's the same thing. You wake up in the night because you're thinking about a problem of the business that you've got to solve. And just managing cash flow, I think that's one of the hardest things for a business owner is cash flow. Like when you speak to business owners, I think they all say like staff is one of the hardest things and cash flow is one of the hardest things. And just managing cash flow, like there's, I'm sure with you, many sleepless nights early on when you're like, on a Friday and you've got to make payroll on the Monday and you're thinking, right,
where's that coming from?
Where's that coming from? And no one will understand that pressure. Even your wife, doesn't understand it.
We very often keep it from your wife.
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes it's better.
You don't want to worry. Yeah. You don't want to worry them. You don't want to spoil your weekend. I mean, it's spoiled enough for you. You don't want to spoil hers too.
And I also say, I've said this to my wife and other business owners, it's like having 100 tabs open on your internet. And you've got all these little tabs open in your head that you're switching between. So even when you're at home, I do try and switch off now with, bath time and just being present in the moment because you never get that time back. I believe you've only got literally 18 summers with your children before they're gone. So I think you do have to be present and in the moment. But in the back of my mind, in my head, I'm switching between all these little Google Chrome tabs of I've got to do this, got to do that. And people don't understand that. That you're just continuously... It is...
And there's like little post-it notes. Me next. Me next. Please, me next. And they're jumping up at you, and it's like, well, where do I go? Which bit do I do? It's
really tough. And one things that really winds me up is when entrepreneurs go to their accountant for advice. And I'm like, look, financial advice is one thing, but they're not an entrepreneur. They're an accountant for a reason. If you want advice about how to manage cash, as a business owner, go and speak to other entrepreneurs. Your accountant is great at numbers and putting everything together.
Well, he only puts together what's already happened.
True. And Xero or QuickBooks, does most of it for you and they sign it off. And people talk to me about AI and I'm like, we've used AI in Xero for years. Like when it tried to match up, when you're reconciling, I was like, we all use AI years ago. But yeah, your accountant's just signing off. So I was like, if you want advice about, cash flow problems or, staff problems or how you're going to go and speak to other entrepreneurs, that's the best thing you can do. Surround yourself with other more successful entrepreneurs than you, because you'll just learn and learn and learn, and that's all I want to do is continue to learn and just pick up those golden nuggets that you can implement.
And the thing also about you learning is, as you move forward, we all do it. We're happy to share our info with the newbies, the ones that are behind us, maybe 3-4 years behind us. I find that, so that would be my thing to people is if you're new in the game or relatively new, ask the experienced people, because we've all asked people and got help. So we're more than happy to carry on that, thing and help other people. I mean, you innovate your business so that, you crush the competition, and you really don't have any competition. And quite apart from anything else, then somebody in your industry running alongside you, they're not competition, because they will have a different take on it and a different way of doing things. So,
Yeah.
there's always room for collaboration, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And one of my, a very, very close friend of mine is Simon in the US, and he owns probably the largest silent disco company in the US, and we catch up once a month, something like that. I need to go and see him. He's based in New York, and I've said, I really want to go over and just have a coffee. We speak remote all the time, but we share. Obviously, it's a different market, different culture to a degree, and we share so many things with each other, and like we both learn about, what the different cultures do. Um, and we implement that into our business. I know he implements a couple of things. So, yeah, speak to other business, share the information, and also share the information with your team. You're always going to have staff, like we've had it, that have taken your black book and they know how you do everything, and they'll go try and start on their own. I mean, we've had that. I think a lot of businesses go through the same. But in terms of numbers, when you get to a certain point, I think share it with your team. Share with your team what's going well, when it's not going well, because you're all on that journey together, and they fit into the culture of like, okay, this month we're not doing so well, we're all going to pull together as a team and
see what we can come up with,
see what we can do. If you like hide how well the business is doing or not doing, the team needs to be informed. And that's something I learned from another entrepreneur, and something that I've really put into practice over the last few years. I had a meeting this morning with my team and said, next month, let's discuss the numbers of last year and the previous month. Like, share the numbers. They can evidently see that we invest most of the profits back into the business or into property that will give us security should anything happen, like another COVID, God forbid. They can see what we do. We're always investing in people. We're not a company that takes the money and then goes buys a yacht or something like that. So I think one day I have a little sailing boat. That's about as far as I'm going to get there, it being by the sea. But no, share it with the team. Share the numbers, share the journey, and they will come on that journey with you.
No, that's all cool. We could talk all day, but I like to make these things like effective and succinct. And you've shared some amazing nuggets, but I'm going to ask you for one more. I want the Toby Burns goal setting nugget, something that we haven't touched on already, but it's what the world needs to know about goals and goal setting, according to Toby Burns.
I have two. I'm going to give you two to end on. Two nuggets. One of the things I've said before for young entrepreneurs or businesses is think big, and big things will happen. Too often people go, I want to earn £100,000 a year. And I go, well, why don't you set that goal to £500,000 a year? Because if you set 500, even if you get 400, don't sell yourself short. And I think if you think big, big things will happen. And there's an analogy in a book, I can't remember what it is, but people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but they underestimate what they can do in 10. And I think that's such a key phrase that I use in our business. Like, let's not overestimate a year. Let's underestimate 10 years, because so much is possible. And I think the other thing is happiness. And I think when you look at successful people, and I talked about the Airbnb owner earlier. And he said, like, even when we got to 1 billion turnover, my life didn't change. I wasn't any happier. Like, people might like you a bit more, or they might love you a bit more, but then that fades, and then you've got to do it again, and you've got to do it again. So I think happiness and family, like, you don't know whether you've got 6 minutes left or 60 years left. So I think you do have to be satisfied with what you're doing. Obviously, there's ambition, but don't come away from happiness. Don't give up relationships with friends. And I did this really young, where I was out DJing every weekend, and relationships and friendships were affected. And only now I'm reaching back out to those relationships that for so long, I took for granted and traded business for relationships. Because you just don't know how long you're going to have left. It's so easy to send a text message, pick up the phone, call someone. It's, because text messages, people think, oh, I'm not going to text them because I don't want to be bothering them. I think he's busy, like running the business. And you're not going to text them because you've got all these hundreds of tabs in your head. So just reach out and keep those relationships. Like some school friends that haven't spoken to in 10 years, and only now, like, friendships are so important, relationships and happiness, and success. I don't think I'm there. I don't think I'm the success that I want to be, and I think that's subjective to everyone. But certainly I think success for some people is money, but I think success is having a good life, not having to worry to a degree, and I think I'm still getting to that point. But having a family and building not only a business, but a family around you, family and friends, I think that's just key. Don't get too absorbed by it all.
That's fabulous.
Bit deep to end on there, isn't it?
Well, it was a bit deep. So, and but seriously cool, and seriously two really good nuggets. But we're not going to end it there. I'm just going to pull one more thing out of you, okay? When this got booked, right, you probably had something, an end goal, one would imagine, for the podcast, something that you wanted to share. Have we done that? And if we haven't, now's your opportunity to go, well, this is really what I wanted to say.
Look, our vision as a business is creating memories through celebrations. Everyone has a party. Everyone celebrates. There's some horrible things going on in the world right now, different wars, a new government potentially, there's a lot of uncertainty. And I just think that parties, Brits love a party, but you create so many memories through a celebration, and that's our vision. That's what we're all about.